I have 2 albums to go before I finish my King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard journey of albums. And those 2 albums are Oddments and Eyes Like the Sky, and the winner of this race is going to decide which album that is going to be. All you got to do is be the best marbles player here, and we're good. Guys, you got 3 seconds. Here we go. Ink Pen Dude. Which album am I going to be reacting to? Oh, Eyes Like the Sky. It is. Okay. Wow. This is an even shorter album than Paper Mache Dream Balloon. I'm so happy. This is exciting. Guys, congratulations to Ink Pen Dude for his dub. This video is going out to you, and after this, I will only have one more album of King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard's catalog to listen to before I've listened to all of their actual releases, and then from there, it's the bootlegs. So guys, start putting in the comments what shows and bootlegs I need to be listening to, but I'm gonna hit the play button on this thing. Before I do, it's very important to me that you know that you are awesome, that you are valuable, that you are important, that you matter, that you are deserving of love, and that I am abundantly grateful for even a moment of your time. If you like what you see, feel free to hit the like and the subscribe button. It goes a long way to help me out. If you really like what you see, leave a comment or join us on Twitch, because these people over here are the best people. They just want to hang out with you, let you know that you matter, and listen to some good music. Guys, without further ado, Eyes Like the Sky. Here it is. Ooh!
The bad white men call him the devil. The Yavapai call him Eyes Like the Sky.
It's got like a spaghetti western vibe. For sure. Ambi's dad. That was Ambi's dad? Broderick? Rest in peace. I love this sound. I feel like the coolest cowboy in the world. Who rides to this song? Oh man. This is album number 2. Oh my goodness. 2013. This is so cool. This is such a far cry removal from what I've heard before.
This story takes place in the hinterlands of the newly formed United States and Territories in the years before and after the great conflagration called the Civil War. Men roam and fight each other simply to stay breathing. Muskets give way to repeating rifles. Cannons give way to Gatling guns. War nurtures weapons. Weapons clear the land.
Wow.
Deserts of the Southwest.
I live there.
Growing in new ones. Old beliefs are shattered by gunfire and charging horses. Under this cauldron of fire rides a young man who becomes a shadowed legend. His name even takes on the mantle of the bogeyman in some homes.
Wow. This is so
Among
cool.
the first Americans, his name is exalted from wickiups to longhouses, from teepees to cliff dwellings. Among the men of the Badlands, he is feared for his silent walk and swift, economical dispatching of his enemies.
This is the band that sings the song Dragon. This is the band that sings the song Catching Smoke. This is the band that sings the song the album Nonagon Infinity. This is the band that did Murder of the Universe. This is the band that created Han Taiyumi. This is the band who has a table named Nathan. This is the band that shouts Hela. Yeah. This feels like a Kill Bill story, like that kind of vibe. Like this feels like it would be such perfect soundtrack material for the movies, the Kill Bill series. This is unbelievably amazing. When I wasn't sure what you like until I heard it. I wasn't gonna necessarily have a concept of what it was that you guys are talking about. But this is just an amazing. I'm riveted already. What a story! I wish comic books were like this. Like music books. I mean, I know that there are, but. This surf sound is used in the Western sound as well, and I love it. The tremolo, vibrato sounding guitars, like on the bridge pickup.
Chapter 1.
The Year of Our Lord.
They've been watching the farmhouse for a while, maybe all day. There were two of them, both young and fit and desert hardened. They were lords of where they lived, and they had no foreign teaching from white men or Mexicans. Except for one thing. They hated the Mexicans more than the white men because of their cruelty. And they'd learned cruelty from the Mexicans very well in return.
The narration...
The mud house curled up into the sky like an albino snake. The two young men watched and counted the white men down in the farmyard. A tall man and two shorter ones, maybe his sons. A woman would occasionally come out from the shack, get water from the well.
Hang on. The two young men watched and counted the white men down in the farmyard. A tall man and two shorter ones, maybe his sons. A woman would occasionally come out from the shack, get water from the well. Okay. I just wanted to catch up.
Well in the front yard and carry it back inside. A small child would be with her. The men watching on the rim had no calendars, so they didn't know the date. 12th of June, Year of Our Lord, 1854.
It definitely gives me a Peace Frog vibe and guitar a bit, and with the synthy sound.
But one thing they did know, about an hour away with the rest of their party, 8 men, all armed, running smoothly and trackless over the rocks. One of the watchers moved away to tell the main party of what they had seen. The raid was about to start.
Ooh. This builds such a cool thing. This really does feel like a spaghetti western. It's such a cool guitar sound. The tremolo picking with an offensive amount of reverb and fuzz. Oh, that's awesome. I love that context. We are so rating. Oh, we are so rating.
They were not after money. They were not after alcohol. They were after guns and young children to raise as their own.
Oh, man.
It ain't necessary to take child captives. The rest would be slaughtered. That is how Miguel O'Brien became a Yavapai Apache warrior. He was 5 years old.
Oh, man. This guitar sound wails so hard. It's the way that they use these reverby sounds to create atmosphere is amazing. Like, it's such a genius thing to do on their second album.
Chapter 2. Miguel O'Brien ran with the Apaches. He ran and ran, and as his legs grew, he glided over the desert earth.
Ooh! And this is the two drummer days. What do you mean what's happening? He wasn't a drummer until Float Along. That is amazing. The ambient sound like that. It really does create like the build-up anxiety of it running.
He learned how to hide and to hunt. He learned to leave no tracks, and he learned how to live on what he could keep down. And his name was now Eyes Like the Sky.
That was so in literature and music, this is what you would call a titular phrase, right? Like title, like T-I-T-L-U-R, like titular, T-I-T-U-L-A-R. And so, yeah, the titular phrase is always so interesting to me in how it is. And this was literally a lyric that I've been excited about for like the entire album, because I'd seen somebody in the comments section a long time ago literally typed this phrase, and this is so cool to me. So this idea that like his coming of age name was Eyes Like the Sky.
He learned how to hide and to hunt. He learned to leave no tracks, and he learned how to live on what he could keep down. And his name was now Eyes Like the Sky.
Oh my gosh, it's so good. The dissonance here, the tension here, the build-up, all of these extra sounds, the cascading piano that's off-key.
His blue showed his
The rim
father's
shots
race.
on the guitar, or on the
He
drums.
never wore the white-painted face of a slave. He was valued for his stamina and distant vision.
Wow.
By the time he was 15, he had already killed Mexican troopers and feared no man.
Eyes Like the Sky is such a cool video game character. Such a cool literary character, too. Just this idea, like, this 15-year-old Banff, right? Like, raised this way and ran with Apaches. You know what I mean? Like,
It is 1864 now, and the Americans'
Wow.
war has not come to the desert lands. They fight among themselves way off to the north. The Yavapai Apaches are still lords of all they survey. Then what?
like, just so you know, Yavapai and Apache, like, hang on. I want to point this out to you, okay? Just so Yavapai and Apache images map. So just so you know, where we are talking about here, okay, is literally in the state I live in, okay? The amount of roads that are named Yavapai or Apache would mind blow you, okay? I live here, right? All around me is Yavapai and Apache. So this is hitting different levels of home to me, okay? Like this entire thing is literally hitting home. As we were.
The Yavapai Apaches are still lords of all they survey. Then one morning the Americans did come, led by a man holding a leather book with a cross stamped in the leather.
Wow.
An evil man who did terrible things to people in the name of a god that looked upon the man himself with revulsion.
Wow. This is so good. Just an hour north of me is a town called Wickiup.
Miguel ran from his Wickiup half asleep when they attacked. A rifle butt sent him unconscious.
I love this evil man, and also I feel like we revisit the evil man concept later with evilest man. You know what I mean? Like we have the evil man, and we also have the evilest man. Man, wow. I 100% agree with you, Tara. I absolutely agree with you. Very much, again, and I hate to say this again, but it's very much like the spaghetti western, like Clint Eastwood, you know, like John Wayne kind of western movies. I love this. This sound is so good, guys. Indie rock meets spaghetti western.
When he came to, he was trussed up, on his back on the ground, looking up at the Americans. He had not been killed because they had noticed his blue eyes and knew he was one of them. So, at the age of 16, Miguel was back among his father's people. But once more, a family he loved had been killed. This time, by Americans.
Oh my golly. I'm gonna send this to my dad. I think that my dad is gonna giz so hard. Like, we are so gizzing with my dad to this album. Like, I might try to convince my dad to come on and do a reaction to this album with me. We're gonna giz. Like, I really think that that would be fun. My mom, I have on good authority, is not a Giz fan. I should make a community challenge to get my dad to come on and do an Eyes Like the Sky reaction with me. This song went so hard, and it breaks my heart. My dad would literally poop on himself if I got him to do a clowncore reaction. I would be interested to revisit clowncore again, though. I mean, I get the bit, but I wonder if now that I wouldn't be as immediately taken aback by it, if it would hit harder now. Chapter 3, Fort Whipple.
Chapter 3. The Americans took the trussed-up boy to a place called Fort Whipple, a fly-blown group of tents surrounded by a stone and timber stockade. An American called Willis was the boss there, and he glared at the man of God as he entered with his captives. He noticed the boy when he was brought in with a few Yavapai girls, and he looked into the color of his eyes.
Hang on. Just give me a sec. Fort Whipple, to me, is so close. I live so close to Fort Whipple in terms of geographic locations.
What do you make of him? He asked the God-man. He may be the young O'Brien boy who was lost here years ago, or he could be from the Jepson party who never made it to New Mexico, said the God-man back. They named the boy Jepson O'Brien, but the natives and the frontiersmen called him Blue, because of his eyes, but also because of the baleful, almost sad expression he carried on his face. Expression of someone who kills with compassion, but not mercy.
Wow. This kid, like, Eyes Like the Sky, I mean, Jepson O'Brien, oh my gosh. They called him Blue because of his eyes, but also because of the awful and he had the most awful and sad expression on his face. The expression of someone who kills with compassion but not mercy. This is wow. For Whippet, that's not cool.
Although he was still a boy, the men mostly kept away from him. All except for one. A trapper who understood his skills and in return fed him and taught him the white man's way. In a short while he could speak and read and write their language. And he also added the calm, fast dignity of the gunman to his arsenal.
Wow. I love the dignity in the narration here is amazing. Broderick is nailing it. Rest in peace.
So fast that men treated him with care. But he was slow to anger, and when angry, swift and final in his reply.
Wow.
In the Arizona desert in the 1860s, he had every skill that you needed to survive. And he was just 17.
What a bamf. Surviving in the Arizona desert is no walk in the park, by the way, guys. It is not. It gets to 125 degrees just, in the summer. You can die of hypothermia in the winter in the desert. Like, there are mountain lions, and I'm not saying just big cats. I'm saying there are mountain lions. There are rattlesnakes, there are scorpions, that there is let's also no water, just you're Eyes Like the Sky really spawned into a hardcore server is what I'm saying. Rattlesnake referenced. The Godman's Goat Lust. The dissonance from the slide sounds.
The God-man with the Bible was in the back room of the chapel at Fort Whipple. The God-man was deeply engrossed in satisfying his goat lust with a Yavapai girl. She never said a damn thing, but just leant over an altar while he defiled her.
The bass line is so steady, everything else is so chaotic.
Her head as he grunted away, and when it was finished, he shoved her towards the outside door. But the God-man never got to fixing his long johns or his black trousers. The young man named Blue strode softly up behind him and drove a long-bladed knife into his neck.
The young man named Blue strode softly up behind him and drove a long-bladed knife into his neck. Yo. Okay. So the evil man got the business. This is unbelievable. Eyes Like the Sky, 100% put on his stealth, he went into stealth mode. Ooh. The scenery.
Into the chalice on the altar, but not the blood of the Christ. Just the blood of the God-man.
The sounds here are huge. The ragtime piano sound, the crazy tension behind all of this. This is just so gnarly, guys.
A young man named Blue took the apple-pie girl, money, guns, and food, and 2 strong horses, rode into the desert away from Fort Whipple. The God-man's body was found, but he was not missed.
That's because he got the business. Eyes like the sky gave that guy a piece of his mind. It's crazy to me how their music is creating scenery. It's creating emotional tension and atmosphere. It's unbelievable to me. This is one of the coolest things I have ever heard. This is not me exaggerating or placating. This is amazing. The Killing Ground.
Chapter 5. For days they traveled, the young man and the Yavapai girl. She told him her name and they spoke in the language. They rode the horses until they gave out, then their throats were slit and meat was taken to eat later. No fires were lit, and they ate berries and raw jackrabbit as well to keep going. After a week they relaxed more as they entered Apache area.
I like that he's got a companion
now.
now.
Off like dust devils, but they knew it was horses. They could hear shots and no more. When all was quiet a day later, they moved silently towards the killing ground. The buzzards told them the story before they got there.
Oh man.
Dead white people. A lot of them. Maybe a half dozen.
That's 6 dead people.
Both wagons and arrows, but not from one tribe. Some of the arrows were different, and shot hoof marks and moccasin tracks that were shaped like a white man's way of walking. Some white men had done this loosely disguised as Apache.
Dude, the story took a turn I didn't see coming. The story took a turn I didn't see coming. I like the advance of the story a lot here. But in the guitar tone, I like this acoustic picking. Like, the whole thing is this.
They took what they could and used and walked on. The purple mountains and red ochre earth swallowed them up, and the young man smelled his own blood as they ran, and it was a good smell. The smell of being alive.
Wow. I can totally go and show you the red mountains too, and the purple ones. This is Dust in the Wind. Not the same, I don't imagine.
Suddenly the girl pitched sideways, and a split second later the young man heard a distant shot. He dived for some rocks and watched as more bullets hit the girl. The young man looked at her body, and as she died, he worked out where the shots were coming from. He knew that death was going to walk among the shooters.
Oh my gosh.
Chapter 6. There's one thing that a white man should never do, and that is move towards an Apache, because you will never get there. How do you catch dust in the wind? The young man saw the way they were coming by the movement of insects and birds, and he knew where to go. Like the snake, he slithered into a dry arroyo and worked behind the shots in an arc. After a while, he
I'm
saw
so
them,
tense right now.
three white men clad in skins, and they walked confidently towards the girl. The young man knew somewhere behind them another one held the horses, making four altogether. He moved towards that man. The killers could wait. Let them enjoy the hunt before they went under.
Whoa.
He found the one with the horses. He was young too, and he died quietly with a surprised, indignant look on his face.
Because eyes like this guy don't mess
Tied the
around.
horses to a tree, and they'd come in handy later. 4 horses and equipment. At the girl's body, 2 men knelt beside her while another stood guard. The guard suddenly cried out as his head exploded in a bubble of pink spray, and he fell forward. The other 2 went to ground and nervously called out to each other. "Do you see the bastard? No, he must be close." But he wasn't. A sharp sporting rifle will reach a long way in the right hands. The young man took careful aim, and the smaller of the 2 men felt his right leg blasted away.
Oh my gosh.
The bigger, heavier man
Bang.
sank as far into the ground as he could make himself go. Still, he could not see where the young man was.
I cannot believe. I can't believe how well this is written. I can't believe how I'm able to see this story unfold in my head. This is better than any audiobook I have ever heard by far. I don't ever read fiction in audiobooks because I can't get by it. But this is really such a different dynamic.
The young man by now was astride a horse and making for a Yavapai stronghold half a day's ride away. And horses than he needed, and he knew where 2 white men were sitting in the desert with no water and no horses. White men dressed as Yavapai Apaches.
Oh. For their mothers and their God. I'm sorry, I read ahead. This is so good. I'm actually mind blown.
Mothers and their God by evening. But the young man would be drunk on tiswin and full of deer meat, and satisfied by their agony.
This is Eyes Like the Sky. Guns and Horses. That was just so good. How many people actually remember the real Bang? Not many. You remember because you're from the gamer arc, so you get it. But guys, that was so far removed from anything I've ever heard them do. I found myself loving that because of how different it was. Yeah, that's over. We listened to the whole thing. I'm literally wanting to buy like that. I that was one of my favorite stories. That was such an interesting thing. I've not listened to anything like that before. I found myself riveted, like just 100% kind of like lost in the sauce of the story, the narrative behind everything. Like again, and it wasn't a happy story, but it was a good story. It was like a spaghetti western with an anti-hero that like, I don't know, man. I want to listen to this again. And again, I definitely want to get my dad to listen to this. You have listened to at least one thing like this before. Huh. I'll have to think about that. I never expected to like a story, but Murder of the... Okay, yeah, Han Taiyumi. But that wasn't spaghetti western. Like, the sounds, all of this. It was amazing. Yeah, guys, I love you. Thank you for being here. Thank you so much for the positivity that you show both to me and to one another. Continue to be the best. And until I see you next, be introspective and consider the birds. Goodbye.